I glanced at the clock as darkness settled over the evening. Outside, the faint hum of the city drifted through the apartment, polite and distant, a subtle reminder that life kept moving, whether I was ready or not. My phone vibrated on the table, her name glowing on the screen. I didn't reach for it. Not tonight. Not yet. Earlier, she had tossed words over her shoulder as she rushed out. Don't wait up. There was a performative casualness in her tone, like a line delivered with rehearsed precision. Beneath it, though, I sensed disorder. She had abandoned the plan she had insisted we follow. The dinner reservations, the errands, the small routines we shared. I watched her leave, her heels clicking on the pavement, like a countdown toward some inevitable moment. I poured a glass of water and sank into a chair. Silence became my anchor, steady and reassuring amid the turbulence of her energy. She expected me to linger at home, anxious and restless, waiting for her return. But that was never my way. I had learned that true power in moments like this is quiet, not confrontation, not drama, simply being present without dependence, giving attention without attachment. Hours passed. My phone buzzed again, frantic this time. Each ring carried the unmistakable tension of someone realizing control had slipped from their hands. I let it go unanswered. I observed, letting the urgency settle, letting her panic speak before mine ever did. Her world, momentarily unbalanced, mirrored the calm I maintained effortlessly. I didn't need to move first. I didn't need to react. She would call, demand, plead, but I was anchored in steadiness that her chaos couldn't reach. My attention was mine. My evening was mine. And in that stillness, I realized how differently I could weather a storm when I refused to let it dictate me. The phone rang again, sharp and insistent, slicing through the calm like a blade. I picked it up slowly, deliberately, allowing each passing second to add gravity to the conversation about to unfold. Her voice came through, breathless, jittery, spilling words over one another, desperate to fill the space I'd held in silence. I didn't mean to, she began, but I didn't let her finish. I stretched a pause long enough for her panic to settle, for her to hear the quiet in my voice before any words were spoken. I'm listening, I said finally, neutral, not cold, not harsh, just acknowledgement. That was all she needed. Her frantic energy could no longer command me. She stumbled through her explanations, excuses, and confessions, attempting to reconstruct the evening she had unraveled so quickly. Plans abandoned, messages unsent, the hurried chaos left in her wake. I remained still, tracing the contours of the storm without becoming part of it. There was no yelling, no pleading, no grasping for control, only listening. And in that listening, I understood something that extended beyond the moment. Her anxiety was hers alone. Mine did not need to reflect it, escalate it, or be disrupted by it. When she finally finished, breathless and hesitant, I spoke one simple, unadorned line, I won't be alone either. The weight of those words settled between us. Heavier than any argument, clearer than any confrontation. It wasn't punishment or revenge. It was a truth she couldn't fabricate or evade. In that quiet declaration, balance shifted, not because I forced it, but because I refused to be swept away by her storm. She went silent for a moment, as if the words struck deeper than any shouting or pleading ever could. Then came a long, shaky exhale, carrying regret, confusion, and the realization that the rules she relied on no longer applied. Her frantic energy, which had once demanded my attention, collided with the simple fact that I had none to give in the way she expected. I don't know what to say, she whispered, each word fragile, hesitant, vulnerable. I let it linger, letting silence amplify what needed to be felt more than what could be spoken. For years, she had tried to manipulate my reactions, bend moments to her will, demand that my haste and anxiety match hers. But tonight, I held my ground. Calm was my response, steadiness my language. In that, I discovered the power of refusing to be dragged into another person's chaos. The night wore on. Her calls slowed, urgency gradually softening into a measured tone. She navigated the consequences of her own actions, while I remained untouched by the turbulence. It was not anger or cold detachment. It was presence grounded in clarity. Every frantic word, Every hurried apology only confirmed that I had reclaimed the space she had tried to occupy. Eventually, the call stopped. The silence that followed was complete, but it was not empty. It was deliberate, grounded, and freeing. I poured a final glass of water, set the phone aside, and watched the city lights flicker against the dark sky. Plans had been abandoned. Chaos erupted. Yet I remained unshaken, composed, undisturbed. I wasn't alone, not in the way she imagined, because I possessed something far more enduring. Control over my reactions, my evening, my calm. And in that, I finally understood that the storm she had tried to create could never touch me.